Let's go back to Nick and Maruchak. Nick, we've got a call. We'll go straight to Gail, I think. Hello, Gail. How can we help you?
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good. I have a house. I have a house, and there's an empty block next door to my place. And I got a call from my mother. She's 92 and bedridden, and she said there was noises coming from the backyard. And when I got home, there were two men in my backyard trimming down one of the trees. I said, you didn't give me any notice that you were doing. And they said, oh, we didn't have to. We're only trimming the trees to the fence line. Are they allowed to come into my yard without letting me know, please?
So no, generally not. So if someone comes onto your property, it's called trespass. And basically, so the question is, do they have consent to enter the property? So someone has consent to obviously enter and knock on your front door. But if they go beyond that, if there's a fence or there's a sign saying no trespass, then they are technically trespassing. Sometimes some government workers do have authority to enter your property. For example, like if Main Roads is doing a construction or something like that, they'll let you know beforehand. But if these are just private citizens, contractors, not and they enter your backyard, then that's concerning.
What suburb, Gail?
Water. Yeah, no, as I say, I think they were by the people who own the empty block next door to me. I think they want to build a house there or something. But these blokes were in my backyard, and they said, "Oh, we're allowed to come in because we're just trimming the trees to the fence line." And I thought that was illegal.
Well, yeah, I would have thought so too. Absolutely. Gail, what suburb?
Bayswater.
Bayswater. Sorry, you did. I heard the water thing at the end. Oh, that's no good.
Yeah.
That's very ordinary. Hey, Gail, I'm just going to put you back to Sophie and to Kira because that's very, very. And it was your 92-year-old mum was there, was she?
Yeah, my 92-year-old mum was here, and as I say, she's bedridden, so she gets upset when she hears strange noises. And she said, that there were noises in the backyard. So when I got home, I went out the back, and there were these two blokes, or three actually, because one was up a tree, and they were just
in your
trimming the trees.
In your garden,
in my backyard. In my backyard. Yeah.
All right, Gail. I'll put you back to Sophie and Kira because we need to call the company. Yeah, that's not okay. I've never ever heard of that.
Yeah. So basically, what they should have done is they should have stayed on the neighbour's side of the property and trimmed the trees from there. They should have spoken to the landowner, got consent to enter into the property. But here, if they're in your backyard, that's trespass. That's a civil claim you can sue them for in the magistrate's court for a civil wrong, and it's also a criminal offence, right? So if you trespass on someone's land without lawful excuse, then it could be breach of the criminal code as well.
Yeah, I'm fired up about that. Well, I'll put you back to Sophie and to Kira, and let's try and find out who the company is because that's not okay. When you've got an elderly lady bedridden and just marching into the back garden and cutting down trees. Wowee. 133 882, 19 minutes to 11. We heard yesterday, Nick, that former Senator Linda Reynolds had been awarded a payout in the courts here in Perth. Martin Bennett was the defamation lawyer who was looking after the senator, the ex-senator Linda Reynolds. What did you make of it? And there are some technicalities. Brittany Higgins has received a payout previously, and that was to do with the incident that took place in Parliament House. But she has defamed Linda Reynolds on one count only.
Yeah. So Linda has won a payment from Brittany approximately worth $350,000, and no doubt there's going to be an argument about legal costs. So Linda should be able to recover her legal costs. But the question is this: can Linda get her money back? And that's what I'm really interested in, because how much has Senator Reynolds spent on this case? Martin Bennett's a very good lawyer. His firm's a top tier firm, so they would charge top tier rates. I would guess close to $1 million. I wouldn't be surprised, right? So a lot of money she spent, no doubt, but I don't know for sure. So the question is, how much could she get back? And Brittany does have some money, $2.4 million, reports have indicated, in a trust. And so this is the interesting question, right? Because if that money was received as a result of personal injury compensation, which I believe it is connected to the injury that occurred to her, then there's a technical legal argument about how can Brittany protect this money. So if Brittany decides to go bankrupt, then there is a law that says any personal injury compensation you receive is actually not available to the creditors. So you can keep all of that. And even if you use that money to buy something else, that's also a protected asset. So one option for Brittany might be to declare bankruptcy, and then she can keep all of her personal injury compensation, and Linda will get nothing except any money that that Brittany will own outside of this trust. So that's one thing. The other thing is if Brittany decides not to declare bankruptcy, then there's an argument about then technically personal injury compensation can be accessed by Senator Reynolds. And what the argument will be is I know that Martin Bennett has already got some documents to find out about this trust. So there are two kind of ways that they can go and attack this trust. One is if this trust is a discretionary trust, right, which means that there's a trustee appointed and they can decide how much money to allocate to Brittany, then it makes it a little bit harder. So they have to have these technical arguments to try and prove that maybe this trust was set up in a way to hinder or delay or defeat creditors. That you have to try and reverse that transaction. It makes it a lot harder. But all I'm saying here is that, Linda's probably spent $1 million on this, and how much? And I don't know for sure, but it's a lot. And that's what these top tier law firms charge. And how much would she get back? There's a good chance that it's very possible that she might get nothing back, right? So the question is,
Mr. Bennett did hint at that yesterday, that they will be seeking reparations potentially from that trust. But I guess, as you say, technically, that is sacrosanct.
Yeah, well, right. That if Brittany doesn't declare bankruptcy, they've got an argument. They've got these technical arguments to try and reverse that transaction, right? But then if Brittany doesn't have any other assets outside the trust, then on the face of it, it makes sense for her just to declare bankruptcy, and then it becomes protected.
Yeah. Okay.
So
amazing.
They're just things to think about, right?
Just on a technicality, and I was a little bit bemused and bewildered, not being a lawyer yesterday, and I think I heard from some lawyers on the text line. The money that Brittany Higgins received, the payout from the government, was to do. It was compensation for, I guess, the incident that happened at Parliament House, where she was not adequately protected by the Parliament and by that employment or that place of employment, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's right. And I don't know too much details about that, but basically, if that payment is classified under bankruptcy law as a compensation for personal injury or a wrong done to Brittany, that word "or wrong," then it's protected if she goes bankrupt. But if, no doubt there's going to be arguments by bankruptcy lawyers who, if they can make sure that it doesn't get classified as a personal injury or wrong done to Brittany, then it's not protected. Yeah, gotcha. So it comes down to this definition. And on the face of it, it probably sounds like it will fall within that definition, but bit of an argument to be had. So it's not 100% certain. But these are just kind of my predictions on how things will play out. And the other complication is Brittany's overseas now, right?
Yes, overseas,
she's living in France. She had a house. She sold her house. That makes it much more difficult to kind of recover assets overseas, and that's a whole nother kettle. Yeah,
all right. Thank you, mate. Very interesting. Nick Maruchak's with us today from MKI Legal. Ring him. He's here to have a chat to you, 133 882. Nick's firm, MKI Legal, are experts in areas of contesting wills, family law, contract law. That's
Employment. Employment's a big one, yeah.
Employment's your big one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, love to hear from you today. 133 882. Just saw Nick wincing over there as I was trying to explain what he does. We've only been together for 9 months. I'm still working it out, Nick. 133 882. Give him a call. He's very, very good. We'll have a think about this one. This one comes in from Katherine. At work, unable to call, but I can listen. Katherine says, Nick, my daughter died 18 months ago. I'm sorry to hear that, Katherine. Yeah. And the probate was granted in January 25. The executor of my daughter's will is still holding on to $11,000, which she set aside for any unpaid bills my daughter might have. There are no bills. The executor knows this, but is in no hurry to transfer this money to my son-in-law. Can you please tell me if there is a time limit on this? We'll have a look into that, Katherine. We'll let you know after this commercial break. It is 14 minutes to 11. Well, 133 882. I'd like to speak to Nick Maruchak. He's here. They say MKI specialise in family law and
employment law.
Yep. You can ask him about anything, though.
Oh, yeah.
He's very good. He'll look it up.
I worked as a general practice lawyer for the first 5 years of my career, and I did every single kind of law. So.
Right. No, I'm glad we clarified that. Just one about, look, for the fellow who sent me the SMS about people being able to go on other people's properties to lop trees. If you want to put your name on it, I'll read it out. But I think you're wrong. You can't just go on someone's property and start trimming trees. even if you're a tree lopper and you're doing it for, you can't do that. Surely, I wouldn't want people coming on my property to trim next door neighbours' trees without asking me. You can't do that. We've got kids at home, or your old mum like Gail did. We are taking Gail at face value that it did happen, but that's not okay. You can't go on people's property to trim trees.
Yeah, look, my understanding is not on private property. You still need consent just like everyone else.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think you can lean over a fence to chop a tree, can you? Wouldn't have thought.
If the tree is encroaching on your land, you can chop that part off,
Yeah.
because that's your property. Leaning over, no, I wouldn't do it.
Put your name on the SMS if you want to have a go, but surely. G'day, Chris.
Yeah, how you going, Bowie? Nick?
Good, mate. Good.
That's good. Listen, I just listened to you guys for a while now, and I've got a problem myself now regarding a shire. They were doing some roadworks on a particular road, and they were putting that black tar stuff down, and I've driven through it, and it sprayed the tar hot mix or whatever you want to call it, all on my truck, up the side, everywhere, and no signage whatsoever approaching this roadworks. It could have been a whole lot worse, actually, carrying 42 tonne, doing 100 kilometres. I got in touch with the shire, and they've come back to me and said, unfortunately, there was adequate signage, categorically no signs. So I pushed the issue. They've gone to the insurance, and the insurance has come back and said, yeah, plenty of signs, you should drive to the conditions. Where do I stand here? Their word against mine now?
Yep. So just a quick legal summary here. When the shire is doing these kind of works, they have a duty of care to you, right? So they have a duty to put up basically to make sure that harm doesn't occur to you. That includes putting up signs, right? So that's a big one. If they didn't put up the signs, then you have a claim. It's called in negligence against them because they failed to take care to prevent harm to your car, right? So the question will be, was there adequate signage or not? And if there wasn't, I think you have, on the face of it,
Zero signs.
A good claim.
Zero,
right?
absolute zero.
Yeah.
But they're coming back to me, and even their insurer has got back to me and told me that, they've done a review and there was plenty of signage.
Yep. So
but there was none.
All right. So it comes down to proving it. And when you launch these civil claims, it's going to be you as the claimant will have to prove on the balance of probabilities, which is more likely than not, that the signs were not there. So it'll be, you can use your testimony. You can say, I was driving there, I saw it. Then if you have photos or if you have any other evidence
Steve,
to support it, that would also help. Then they will call their witnesses and say, well, the workers there might say there was sign, and then it comes down to who the court believes. So if you can kind of discredit them, and then the court thinks that you're more trustworthy than them, then you should win, right? So it really comes down to the trial and whose evidence is more persuasive. What you can do, if your claim is under 10 grand, you can start a claim in the magistrate's court against them. And if you win or lose, generally you won't pay the legal costs. That's quite a safe road to go. And then your claim may be able to settle early on because it's probably uncommercial for them to really fight.
Chris, did you say a value then?
Sorry, what was that?
Did you say a value? Did you tell us a value?
Oh, yeah, no, it was way under 10 grand. Yeah,
Right,
it was
okay.
about $1,800. Yeah.
So it's worth it to go to the magistrate's court, lodge a Form 4 minor case claim, file it with the court, serve it on them. You go to something called a pre-trial conference, which is basically a mediation, and you can have a little argy-bargy about it. And hopefully they'll give you something and you settle it and it's all gone because it's all done. Because it'll be too expensive for them to pay their lawyers to take this all the way to trial because it's just not worth it. So threaten it.
It's more frustrating. It's more the principle now that they're just trying to flog me off. You know what I mean? I can get a bucket of kerosene and clean it myself for $50, but it's the point. You know what I mean? That's what's annoying me.
So fill out a Form 4 in the magistrate's court. Fill it out and then send it to them and go, you guys don't pay me. I'm going to sue you for negligence. I'm going to file this. And then see if you can get some money out of them and resolve it. You might not get the full 1,800 or whatever. You might get a good chunk of it and then you're done.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for
happy days.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for ringing in. Catherine's issue of her daughter passing away, sadly. I'm sorry to hear that, Katherine, but the executor hanging on to 11 grand for unpaid debts.
Yep. So basically, I'll go over it quickly. The executor has a duty to collect all the deceased assets, to pay all the debts, and then distribute to the beneficiaries once that's done. Normally, the executor is allowed a 12-month period from the date of death to do this and give the assets to the beneficiary. The very minimum an executor should wait is 6 months after probate, because that 6-month period is a time that the will can be challenged. So you, at the very least, they should wait 6 months. So if it's been more than 6 months but less than 12 months, then the question is there a reasonable basis for that executor to hold on to that $11,000? So if there's known liabilities or potential liabilities, that's probably reasonable. So she'll probably have to wait till 12 months. But in the meantime, as a beneficiary, you have the right to request a copy for the estate accounts and to ask for updates and explanations. And if they don't kind of provide that updates or explanations to you, or if it takes longer than 12 months, then you can apply to get the executor removed. So that's kind of the short answer that I can give.
All right, thank you. This one here from a quick one from, I think it's from Jeff. It says, where is it, Jeff? Jeff has an Australia Post will. Or a will from that he picked up from Australia Post, and he said, will that suffice? It's a simple will dividing assets between 3 kids.
It will. Just follow the instructions very carefully and make sure you sign it and you get it witnessed by 2 witnesses. So it's very important that that stuff is, the procedure is followed correctly. And when you fill out the boxes, make sure there's no confusion or ambiguity or uncertainty about what you meant. So follow the instructions correctly, get it witnessed by 2 witnesses and sign it, and it'll hold up.
Yeah, right. Let's try and squeeze Dylan in really quickly. If we don't get to the full answer here, Dylan, I know our man Nick will come and have a chat to you. G'day, Dylan.
G'day, boys. How you going?
Going well, mate.
Yeah, I've just got a quick story. I went swimming at the beautiful Vincent Beatty Park there, and I was swimming, and I noticed that when I was, I've got that shoulder, so I was swimming underwater, and there's quite a big step, about 1.8 metres deep, with no different coloured tiles or anything. So I went head first into it, not wearing goggles, with my 3 kids, and I came up with a massive abrasion to my face and had to go to the hospital to get it all stitched up.
What did you hit, Dylan? The wall or the stairs?
No, there was a little step, 1.8 metres deep at the very, very bottom. So there was a hidden step, and so I jumped on the WA Aquatic Act, and it said it should have a different coloured tile when there's a step, and there clearly wasn't. So I took some pictures of what it looked like above water, and I hit them up because I ended up getting a staph infection and all sorts of gross things when you have an accident like that at a pool. But they've come back saying that there's no liability there.
Yeah, so Dylan, look, I might get Nick to have a chat to you because we have run out of time. Is it the ledge that people stand on, is it, that ledge?
No. It's where the water polo outside area is, and they must have, it goes from 2 metres to 1.8 metres.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that it would be a slope, but it was actually a step.
Yeah, all right, Dylan. I know what you mean. I'll Nick, are you okay to have a quick chat to Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
thank you.
We'll have a look at we'll look into the Australian standards and some of the aquatic regulations.
Thanks,
so
appreciate it, Dylan. I'll get Nick to have a chat to you. Thank you for this week. Great analysis on Brittany Higgins and Linda Reynolds today. Nick, really appreciate it. Thank you, mate. See you next week.
Thank you, Bowie.
Good on you. Nick Maruchak from MKI Legal. 2 minutes to 11. Mick Collis not far away.